Good morning, class 10th. I welcome all of you to the very first day of the very first chapter of our English lesson, and that is A Letter to God, written by G.L. Fuentes. Now, this chapter is from your first flight, that is your English reader. If you don't have the notes, you don't have the text, don't worry. The ncert.in site has the complete text word to word that is there in your books. So very easily you can read the text online, or if you have printers back home, you can get a Xerox and you can begin reading your text. So to make things simpler and not wasting any more time, because class 10th happens to be an important class as a foundation stone for our careers ahead, we'll begin with the very first lesson. Now, this particular story revolves around the settings of rural America, and G.L. Fuentes happens to be a Mexican novelist. So, he has used the rural setting of Mexico, he has used the currency used in Mexico, that is pesos, in the chapter. Now, this particular story is about the undoubted faith of a man, a farmer, and his name was Lenko. Lenko in the US accent and Lencho in the UK accent. His faith is like a ray of hope in times of adversity, in times of problem, right? He starts praying to God about rains, shower, or a downpour because he had a field filled with corn crop that was ready to be harvested. What was required only was a little bit of rain to make the harvest a better one. Now, what happened therein? That this particular man, Lenko, saw these clouds hovering the sky, and he called up his wife and he told her that, see, woman, see, lady, there's going to be a downpour. God has listened to my prayers, He's heard, and see how strong my faith is. The entire family, the children and the wife and the husband, were very happy. Now, while they were having their meal, suddenly it began to rain. Lenko was so excited, he was so happy. Again, God had shown that he is a God who listens to the prayers of his people. He ran outside with his kids and he enjoyed the lovely rain that was falling on his field, and he could feel and sense that this time his yield would be a very, very good one. Now, while he was just observing the sky, he was just glorifying God, he was just looking at the lovely crop that he had for him to harvest in a couple of days after the rain was over. What happened was there was a hailstorm. And because of the hailstorm, his entire field was devastated. He began to think on this particular aspect as to what can be done, because if there were locusts are kind of insects that eat the crop. If locusts would have been there in the field, they would have left something at least. But here, this hailstorm had ruined every bit of his cornfield that he was expecting to give him a very good yield that particular year. So he came back inside his house. He was very, very sad. And his wife told him now what we are supposed to do. Are we going to die of hunger, starvation this particular year? But since, as I've already told you, Lenko was an ardent follower of God, he had strong faith in God, and he knew that God would definitely answer his prayers. He had just one help, one hope, and that was going back to God and asking and seeking for his help. Now, it was a Sunday. He wrote a letter the next very day and he went to the post office and he posted it. When the postman brought out the letters to be sent to different addresses from the mailbox, the postman began to laugh to see that the person addressed to was not a human being but God. And while he was amused, he was just mocking at the person who had written that particular letter. He came to the postmaster. The postmaster also smiled. He was also about to mock at this particular fellow who had written a letter to God, but somehow he stopped. He just thought and he pondered on the fact that look at this man. He is trying to build up a correspondence with God. So I will not let his faith be harmed because of my unguarded remark or my unguarded action. So he called an entire a meeting with all his employees, and he requested them to give something to this particular man so his faith can be maintained and made stronger with every passing day, because he had given a request, and the request in the letter was that he required 100 pesos, the currency of Mexico that I've already mentioned to you in the beginning of the particular lesson of ours, right? 100 pesos he wanted so that he might not die of hunger and starvation that particular year. Now, the postmaster also contributed some part of his salary. He collected 70 pesos, put them again in the envelope, and signed from God and told the postman to let him know when this man comes to collect his particular letter. Now, Lenko, after a few days, came to the post office. He took that particular letter of his from the postman. He opened it and he counted the money. It was not 100 pesos that he was requiring, but they were just 70. Now, he did not doubt God because he felt God cannot commit a mistake. He is so very strong in making his people believe in him that he cannot do any kind of blunder with their prayers. So he again brought a pen and paper. He asked for it from the post office. There and then he wrote a reply to God saying that, God, the problem is that I trust you. You definitely must have sent me 100 pesos. But this time I want the remaining 30 to come to me, the 30 pesos, not through the post office or to the postman, but you give it to me through some other source. Because I feel that the people working in the post office are a bunch of crooks, means they are corrupt people. And as a result, I would feel that it is better for you to give me my reply through another means. Do not send it through the post office. Now, this particular ending of the story is pretty amusing. It is also ironical. Ironical from the word irony, what you try to think, what you feel will happen, but totally the opposite happens, right? So the postmaster, when he saw Lenko at the post office, he thought that Lenko would be happy. Instead of 100, at least he got 70. But the irony was that instead of being happy, he was very annoyed. And the people who helped him, that is the post office people, they were the ones blamed by Lenko of stealing the money that God had sent to Lenko. So in this way, it is ironical. Now, when you read the chapter, it's pretty simple. I have certainly found out certain word meanings for you all. So crest, in the very first paragraph, it is the top of a mountain or hill where Lenko's house was situated. Downpour, heavy rainfall. Intimately, it's again there, I think in the second or the third paragraph, that is, Lenko was so very closely connected to his field. They were almost like his children. He loved his crops so much. New coins. That is a metaphor used to compare coins or the raindrops with coins, because he said the tiny ones are the smaller currency coins and the larger ones are bigger currency coins, because the rain would yield a good harvest and he would be financially strong that particular year. So I request you to kindly read the particular chapter and see that it is almost done before the session begins, hopefully very soon, that we are just praying about it. And please try to find out the question and answers. They are not that difficult. So when you read the chapter, all the questions have the answers that are very much in your paragraph.